Well, let's get some of this. Welcome to Shiitake News. Happy to have you here. Let's get started. Today is February 28th, in the year of our Lord 2020. And we have a few updates, just 2 stories to cover today. But there's a lot to go through. First up, Covid-19. Another update. And I keep mentioning this daily, and I know YouTube doesn't like hearing it, and they definitely don't like seeing stories or videos about it, but I feel it's important. So we're going to go over what the updates are and what I've been reading. Nothing good, unfortunately. COVID has about 14% chance of relapse. There was one person in Japan who was a 40-year-old lady who was, I guess she was healthy. She tested negative, and then she relapsed, and she tested positive again later. And it's happened a lot in China too, which again leads me to believe that this is man-made. It's acting as it was intended to act. By China, of course. They're the one that put it together, or it's the original source of it. So I only grow more and more suspicious of the way it's acting. Most viruses, when they're not in the body, they usually don't last about a week and still be contagious. So a lot of things about this virus don't make sense, and there's a lot of proteins in it from what I'm told that aren't normally found in nature, which means it's something that was made in a lab, and it came from a lab. So therefore, it leads me to believe that somebody put this together to work as it's working right now. I don't think they intended it to release it in China, especially as bad as it's getting. I've watched videos. I'm not sure if they're real or not, of people screaming at Wuhan who've been, barricaded into their place for too long, about a month or so. I'm not going to link it because it might be a fake, but I've heard screaming like that once before. And that was at a prison during an incoming. We had incoming, and the base was being bombarded, and prisoners of the other side that we kept in a building were screaming because they thought they were going to get hit too. That's the only time I heard those churning screams, but we'll leave that at that. The first case of unknown origin has been confirmed in California, back home, and it's up north too, and that worries me a lot, because if they find a case that then they can track where it came from, well, good. That's better than not knowing where it came from. In this case, they have no clue where it came from, so that could mean that the person might have came in contact with whoever. Even the people at the hospital had no clue that that's what he had, and they didn't test him for a few days. I think he went like 4 days before he was finally tested for coronavirus. And he tested positive, and they're like, oh, snap, now we got to take precautions of who you've talked to, how many staff have worked with him, who drew blood. All of these things now have to be tracked. So it's too late. Whoever he's been around might have gotten sick already. Yeah, it took 4 days to test him. Here's the story down here and a link to it. So during those 4 days, he was free to do as he wished. And, whoever close to him might have gotten sick as well. And people are starting to panic a little now that the CDC is starting to mention all these cases in the US. People are starting to buy up supplies, and I gotta admit, I have too. I started buying more and more and more. I buy about 2 weeks worth daily, and I keep saving up. And it's not food that I wouldn't normally eat. All of that I devour in a heartbeat. A lot of rice, a lot of protein stuff too. Especially the sticky rice, because that stuff stays for like years and years. So it's like a solid block. It looks almost like a plastic block, but you heat it up and it puffs up and it becomes really soft and crunchy, and it's really delicious. It fills you up basically. But I'm starting to buy more and more supplies, and I see other people doing the same. If you haven't gotten to it, I would get to it. I'd hop to it immediately. You're gonna start seeing shelves empty out here soon, because in March, I believe a lot of the shipments that come from China are going to be late. So if you'll start seeing empty shelves, and not that the empty shelves will probably be generic things, but people seeing that empty shelves is going to trigger some sort of panic from the community. So buy water, buy food, and buy meds. These 3 things are the things you're going to need So yeah, be ready for that if you can. And there's reason to believe that it's going to spread faster than intended or faster than expected, just because there was people trying to cross the border down south that were, I believe, Chinese that tested positive, and they were trying to sneak into the U.S. Not for it that I don't know if they had ill intentions or whatnot, or they just want to get treated here at home, or here in the U.S. But they were trying to come in illegally, and they were sick, and now the border protection is starting to take precautions to take care of themselves. So buy your supplies. You cannot trust on the government. Get what you need to be okay for a few weeks. I'm shooting for trying to be okay for a few months. That way, if supplies dry up, or because Japan imports about 70% of their food, so if things dry up and there's not much being provided, or there's not much to buy, we want to be okay for a few months. But no matter what, I feel like I'm gonna stick it out in Tokyo. If worst comes to worst and things go to hell, we're gonna stick it out and try to support the city, because the city's been good to us. And keep some cash on hand in more than one currency. Well, for me at least. For you, probably dollars would be nice. Don't buy gold coins or silver coins. I don't think you can trade that for anything. Nobody's going to give you water for a gold coin or for a silver coin. But take care of yourself. Be ready. Next up. This one I have mixed feelings about. Coming over to the party, there are 8 elected officials, state officials, announcing a party switch. Now, this is in Mississippi, but there's 8 individuals switching over. And they just announced a switch. They feel that Trump's polling is high enough so that they can switch and keep their seats or keep their positions. I have mixed feeling about it, just because we don't. There's no point in getting rhinos, people who are Republican in name only, people who still act as if they're with their left, values, but they pretend to be on the right. Like Mitt Romney, that guy is garbage. That guy is a Democrat, true and true. There's nothing about him that really makes him a Republican. He votes against the Republicans' interests. He does a lot of things that, he's clearly just in name only. It'd be nice if we can get rid of him, but we don't want people who, well, I'm not saying we, but they having wolves in sheep's clothing, or the other way around, isn't useful to anyone. They should at least, so they're just switching parties so that they join what they think is going to win, and they can still stay in the position they're in. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm sure Trump's going to brag it out that yay, we got more people. A Democrat switched during the impeachment, so he was showing that off, and he support the guy. He actually he put a rally in Jersey, I think, and it was good. And I think the guy's going to hold his seat, but I don't know if I want people switching party just because it's a cool thing to do. And the ice cream kind of reminds me of Flavor of the Month. Flavor of the Month is like people do it just because it's the thing to do, or because it's popular right now, but it's not really like that they're loyal. It's like a fad. Oh, I'm going to do this because it's a good thing, or it'll benefit me right now. And then after it doesn't benefit me, I'm not going to stick to it. I don't like this type of plans or ideals, so I'm sure they're all happy, but I still have my suspicions. I hope they run against other Republicans, and then if they end up being ahead, then good on them. And again, this is Mississippi, so take it for what it's worth. That's it for me today. We're keeping it short. I can tell that Google really doesn't like when we mention the coronavirus or anything related to that, because they don't want to start a panic, and I agree. People, please do not panic. Anyone who's listening should not panic. You're going to be fine. This virus will not wipe out humanity. Everybody's going to be absolutely okay. Just take some time. But what is going to be a headache is the delays, the schools that will be closed, the services that you have that are going to be cut off or delayed. Those things are going to start to stress you out, and you're going to start seeing things slow down. That's what you should be preparing for: food, water. If something goes out, make sure you're taken care of. The schools out here in Japan have been closed. They extended the summer break to start from next week, so the kids get an extra month off. But I can foresee a lot of businesses closing, especially if they deal with a lot of people. I see doctors, or I think they're gonna fully support all the hospitals so they can stay open to treat whoever ends up being sick. So on the medical side, I think they'll be okay. Um, I'm sure people are gonna stay home. Those who work hourly jobs, or those who work like hourly wages, are probably gonna be hurting for money and looking to go back home or looking to make ends meet. If you have the means right now, make the best of it. Save it. Buy supplies. Don't do anything that you consider wasteful that you might regret. And that's the one thing about today. I went shopping, and the only thing I pray for is that I don't regret not buying more today. Tomorrow, I plan to get more, but I just don't want to be in a spot where I regret missing out on something. I should have bought more masks earlier, and I saw that coming, and I'm kind of frustrated with myself because they're all sold out here. And if you do buy a mask, it's going to cost you a ton. I did buy a couple dozen, but a couple dozen high-speed ones and a couple boxes of the normal kind. But I really wish I'd invested more into it. That way I can help others. But right now I have to be kind of stingy with my mask. And if you don't need to leave the house, don't leave the house. Is the rule now. But yeah, I can't be there to help whoever's listening. I wish I could, but take care of yourself until this passes over. That's it for me today. I really appreciate all the views. I'm excited. This is something new. I've just started. I've never done this on a regular, and it's exciting for me, and I'm having fun. If there's something you'd like to hear, like something you'd like for me to cover, I'd be glad to give my opinion on things. This is fun. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. お疲れ様でした。